Hey guys, Dr. Chris at MC Chiropractic. We're back with another Fitness Friday, and today we're talking about vitamin D and how much is enough, what do you need, what's not enough, what's too much. Give you all the details that you need for this. We've been getting a lot more questions about this from patients because I think we've been seeing it more in the news. There's new research that's come out saying that people who have vitamin D deficiencies are more likely to be hospitalized with respiratory issues and severe respiratory issues due to COVID infection versus people who had adequate levels. Very low percentage of people who have adequate levels of vitamin D have been hospitalized. So they think there maybe is some protective mechanism there. I'll put a link with some research below and some additional recommendations down in the description. But let's get down to the details. A patient came in and was kind enough to share their results for this case study for you. They said they had a recent test and they were just above the deficiency range, but they thought it was weird. They were told they really don't need to do anything right now because they were at 32 nanograms per milliliter. The deficient level is 30, okay? A normal level is anything between 31 and 80 nanograms per milliliter, and anything above 80 might be too much. Some research says that between 50 and 80 nanograms per milliliter is more the optimal range. Let's talk about why that is. If you were driving your car around and your low fuel light came on, you know you only have a few miles to go before you better put gas in the car, otherwise you're gonna run out of gas. And sometimes you might only be able to put a little bit in. That's okay. You don't have much money, you can only put a couple gallons in, or maybe you did run out of gas and you had to call a tow truck and the tow truck could only bring you 1 gallon of gas. Yeah, that might be a great reason to only put a gallon in. But if you're actually seeing that low fuel light come on and you drive up to the pump at the gas station and you're gonna fill up gas in your car, would you only put in 1 or 2 gallons and then drive around again if you were able to put in a full tank? You're just talking about saving time and less risk of running out of gas if you actually top off that tank or at least put a good amount in. So why would we look at something that's only 2 points off a deficiency and say, yeah, that's solid, that's perfect? To me, that is like driving around with your low fuel light tank on. We can get symptoms at levels above that deficiency. They're just not very severe. Anything below 30 nanograms per milliliter, we know that people can have osteopenia, osteoporosis, rickets, which is another bone disease. We know that there can be impacts on your hormone function. So there can be quite a few side effects. So we really want to just go for that optimal range. Really, I would highly recommend 50 to 80 nanograms per milliliter being more the target than just anything above 30. If we were at that fuel pump, actually top off the car. It makes more sense because in our area, we have very little sunlight for a lot of the year. So if you're not getting sun exposure every single day, that, vitamin D is the sunshine vitamin. We can make it naturally on your own. You may not need to supplement it. You may be able to get it from sun exposure, but you're going to need to fill up your tank in the summer while you can, because in all likelihood you are going to run low later on in the winter time, at least up here in Fargo, North Dakota, where it's very cold and we bundle up in the winter, so we're not getting much sun exposure for about half the year or more. You could get it all through your food. You absolutely can. We'll put a list of whole food sources down below in the description as well, and we encourage that a lot. I always try to get through food and sun exposure as much as you possibly can. They're better. They're hands down better. But high vitamin D foods really come down to things like salmon, cod liver oil, egg yolks, mushrooms. If you're not eating foods like this on a pretty daily basis, it's going to be hard for you to get that vitamin D in your diet. If we aren't working outside, maybe we're stuck in an office or at home because of this whole thing, and we're just not getting outside like we usually do, or it's cold half the year where you are. So even if you're outside, you're wearing a parka and hats and scarves and only your eyes are visible, you're not going to get enough vitamin D that way. So you might need to supplement. If we're going to supplement, if we're going to take the time to do that, let's talk about what's enough and what might be too much, okay? Let's go back to enough, okay? Really common recommendation right now is actually to go in that 1,000 to 2,000 international units or IUs. That'll be what's listed on the supplement bottle if you decide to go with the supplement, okay? I think that's a good amount for a lot of people. It's gonna slowly get you up to where you need to be. If you're maybe hovering in that 40 to 50 range and you just wanna make sure that you maintain that throughout the winter months, I think 1 to 2,000 international units, depending on your body size, is a great recommendation. Guy my size, about 175 pounds, yeah, probably 2,000 IUs is gonna do it really, really well. If we're a bigger person, if we carry around a little bit more body fat, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. Your body's gonna wanna store it and bind it a lot more. So you might need to take significantly more to get yourself out of a deficiency. Or if we wanna get out of a deficiency quickly, we might really need to ramp those numbers up. So sometimes your chiropractor or your MD's recommendations or a nutritionist, you might be taking anywhere from 5 to 10,000 international units daily orally. If your MD decides to put you on injections, you might be taking 50,000 IUs in one injection once weekly. That's another common method of doing it. So just know that those are the amounts you might need to go in. And it would likely take weeks to months to get those numbers up significantly. If we had somebody in the deficient range below 30, we might be taking 5,000 IUs for 3 to 6 months and then retesting their blood work again. Retesting after a couple weeks usually isn't going to do anything unless you're doing intramuscular injections. We really usually need to take it orally. For most people is, more, it's just an easier thing to do. You don't have to go in for injections on a weekly basis. And it's something that you can actually go in and just take on a daily basis with food because it's fat soluble. Okay, I got to take it with a fat source. So we're going to say for somebody that's in the deficient range, under doctor's supervision, you might want to take 5 to 10,000 international units if we're taking it orally. For most of us, we just want to keep our levels up, 1 to 2,000 international units as recommended down below. And it's not really a good idea to take more than that because let's go back to that gassing up your gas tank analogy. You wouldn't just keep overfilling your car. Once your car tank is full, you wouldn't just keep pumping gas because if you did, at worst, you could spill gas all over your car and the ground. You might create a fire hazard or damage something. It's just not a good idea. At best, you're wasting your resources, you're spending too much money and wasting gas in the process. So why would you do it? Same with vitamin D. There's no reason to be taking an excessive amount. Really, you got to decide whether you're in the fast gain group. Hey, I'm deficient. I need to get out of this deficiency quickly. I want to get there as fast as I can, like in a couple months. Or if you're in a gradual gain situation where, hey, I'm at a 32. I'm technically not in severe trouble, but I want to start topping off that tank. This is probably a great idea to be taking about 2,000 international units a day. And within 6 months, we would expect them to get up to their amount, more ideal in that 50 range. If we were looking at wanting to get there quicker, like in 3 months or less, we'd probably be supplementing at that 5,000 international units mark. So really, that's the key. Retest, okay? Once you've had a test, it's always good to retest. Make sure you got to where you wanted, not too much, not too little. It's a simple test. It is a blood draw, but it's easy to do. You can do that with your general care practitioner. You can do that here at Venture Chiropractic. We do blood work for people. It comes with a full report on what you can actually do to change your lifestyle, change your eating habits, or supplement. Whatever combination of those things work best for you. And it's a nice, easy to read format. Basically, green smiley faces on white lines mean everything's good. Yellow means, hey, let's look at that. Might be a little bit off. Red means, hey, you really should start paying attention to this, otherwise you might feel symptoms. Blue, even your MD is going to agree, man, we got to do something about that. You're sick enough to probably need a medication or some sort of procedure, so let's get that looked at right away so it's nice and easy to follow. If you're interested in finding out where your vitamin D levels are, give us a call at Venture Chiropractic to help you. We're always here to help you move better, feel better, be a better you.
Everybody's moving, everybody's moving, everybody's moving, 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 moving. Everybody's moving, everybody's moving, everybody's moving, 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 and stop.